Welcome to the Second Win Boxing Media. I'm your host, Rashid Hammond, and alongside,
It's your boy Caesar Fantastic, and today we are joined by Bazooka Joseph Veazy. He'll be fighting February 18th at Maryland Live Casino in Hanover, Maryland. Bazooka Joe, how's it going, man?
It's good, man. We're a little over 3 weeks out. Feel stronger than ever, physically, mentally, and camp's been going great. I'm ready to go today, to be honest. But come February 18th, I'm gonna put on a show for my fans. I'm gonna beat some ass for y'all.
I know that's right, man. So, where you from, and what gym you box out of?
So I guess I'm doing my training right now at Odington Fitness, which is my promoter, his wife, my promoter Tony Jetter and his wife Kristen Jetter. It's their gym. It's on Telegraph Road in Millersville, Odington area. But
Okay.
I'm from currently live in Brooklyn Park, but I've lived in Brooklyn my whole life, so South Baltimore.
Okay. All right. That's cool.
If
And
yep, yep.
and what got you into boxing? And when did you start boxing?
So I've been in boxing ever since I was in diapers, realistically, because my father had a long time boxing enthusiast. Watched, fights in the 70s and 80s with his father, Friday night fights. He would go to the Laurel Boys and Girls Club when he was, a teenager, workout. He would spar, never really had any amateur type things, just one of the guys be in the gym working out, sparring.
Mhm.
When he had a couple when he was in the Air Force though, he had a couple smokers, and then he had a few exhibitions, fought in the tough man contest a few times down in West Virginia back when he was back then towards the end of his career. It would have been the tough man contest. He was training at the Brooklyn Boxing Club by my current coach Danny Kistner. So my father was trained by Danny, and then my father would bring me to the gym every day. So all the guys at the gym were like my big brothers, were like my role models. So every day instead of going to a babysitter after school or a babysitter at all while my mother was at work, my father would just take me to the gym with him. So I grew up in the gym. Around 5 or 6 years old, I'd say I started training, sparring, had some exhibitions at old school boxing, which is rest in peace, Buddy Harrison, who just passed
Rest
away
in peace, buddy.
recently. That was his gym. I had my first exhibition there when I think I was 6. I had 3 or 4 there, and I pretty much turned 8 years old, turned amateur, and never stopped running.
Okay. Now, in the amateurs, what accolades or championships, titles did you win in amateurs?
Actually, Tony was asking me about this earlier, so I should have a couple on top. I don't got the years for everything, but for the national silver gloves as a junior, uh, at the national level, I took a gold 1 year, silver, and a bronze. So first, second, and thirds, 3 separate years there. I won ringside, big ringside tournament 1 year in 2014. National Junior Olympics, I silver medaled. Um, that was 145 pounds, so that was a real big achievement. And then some of the other guys that I just fought in the amateurs, you guys might know, or certain people on here might have heard of. Fought Jordan White a handful of times when we were kids, when we were like 8, 9, 10 years old. Janelson Figueroa, he fought on Showbox recently. He's like 17-1. We fought in the amateurs. Let me think. There's plenty more. Miguel Contreras, he's about 12-1. He's with Top Rank,
Okay.
young guy. He's doing good. So I've been in there with a bunch of the big names. Sparred with you know with Tank, and used to stay in the hotel room. Lorenzo Simpson, Malik Titus, who's turning pro now. All the top guys that are 21 to like 26. We used to go to regionals and everything together. So I'm just your typical South Atlantic amateur fighter, man.
Okay. You remember your record, amateur record?
Yeah, I was 80-21 overall.
Oh, 1821. Okay.
So
That's a cool
101
little record.
fights.
101 fights, yeah. So, who are some of the boxers that inspired you to start, coming up?
So when I was a little kid, I looked up to my now friend and training partner slash coach, kind of Nick Kistner. I looked up to him a lot. Jesse Niccolo, Mike Pascal, some of the local Baltimore guys. I looked up to PD James Stevenson. I thought I was a big role model back before I was actually competing. And then when you talk about the big names, of course, you got the legends like Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones. Kelly Pavlik's a big one who I like to study. We got a lot of similarities. Ricky Hatton, back when I was younger, when I was more aggressive, I like to use a lot of his movement. And then
Mhm.
the being Irish and the story and just a good story. The Irish Mickey Ward, I got a good left hook. I kind of took that to the body back when I was a kid. That was my main thing. So I don't have one fighter in particular, but I definitely say probably Kelly Pavlik and De La Hoya are probably two of my the legends I'd say I looked up to as a kid.
Okay. That's a nice list. And yeah, I could see like some of the similarities in those, like you say, the left hook and the Kelly Pavlik style with you. Now, when you turn pro, your professional debut, how did that feel, going into your professional debut?
It was like a dream come true, honestly. I feel like ever since I won my first national, like that was, I wanted to win a national so bad as a kid because so many people have amateurs forever, make it to nationals a million times and never win it. So ever since I won my first national at like 11 or 12 years old, my dream was to turn pro. So it was like I was living a dream. It's like almost I don't remember it, to be honest. It was, I was like, it happened. It was awesome. It was a dream come true. So looking to make a lot more of them happen in the boxing game.
Nah. Now, after that fight, you had a 4-year layoff. That was for injury?
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it was in October. I had a fight lined up in December. And I suffered an injury somewhere in training. We actually don't know exactly when it happened, but it was a wrist injury. So boxing, you can't really. It's hard to
Yeah.
get train and prepare for a professional fight when you got a wrist injury. We were trying our hardest. Didn't just we had to step away for a while, but we got right to the doctors. Had a couple negative MRIs, insurance. That takes some time. Negative X-rays. We ended up going to another doctor once we got it with a different insurance company, and then took a few more, run the whole process back again, and we eventually found the problem. We're able to get the surgery done, and it took about a year. It took about 3 years to find the problem, and a year to fix the problem. But I've been back for
Mm.
over 2 years now. I say it just saved me some wear and tear. Gonna let me fight till I'm younger, older, I'm more mature as a person. Like I said, I turned pro right when I turned 18, so I was young inside and outside the ring. So I learned so much as a man, as a fighter, as a person. So I think it did a lot of good to me.
Okay. Now, being away from boxing, the sport that you've done most of your life during that time, how was that like? How was that for you mentally?
Terrible, terrible, terrible. I
Really?
didn't know what I didn't know what to do. I felt stuck. I didn't know what to do. I knew what I wanted to do, but yeah, boxing has always been my life, and I've always wanted to put my all into it like I do every day. So yeah, it was a rough 4 years, and I I don't like to really look at that part in my life. Not nothing terrible happened, but it was like without boxing, it don't seem as much as good's happening. So
Yeah.
it was like a 4 year standstill. It really sucked, but I'm past it, and things are just getting better and better. So like I said, I'm
Yeah.
growing.
Okay. Now, upon your return back to the ring, where were your emotions at? Just finally getting back. Was it sort of like your first fight? Again.
Yeah, it was like a might as well been my debut again. Like I said, I didn't
Hmm.
remember the first one, but and after being off for so long, still coming back, we were still heavier in weight just because we weren't trying to worry about weight. We just wanted to get our confidence back. Uh, I was back. That's actually when I started working with Danny. Was on the comeback. Was September would have made 2 years. So what would have been September 2021? It would have been when I started working with no, September 2020 and end of COVID. I started working with Danny. So up until then, my father was my main coach, but he has Parkinson's disease and a few other health problems, so he can't be there every day as much anymore. So I've been with Danny full time for a little over 2 years. But coming back, it was really about getting my confidence and getting back to the old Joe. A couple different, I don't know where I got it from. A couple, I don't know, it could have been like a Bruce Lee thing that I seen. They said if you're not in the gym for a solid 2 years, you don't know your true capabilities. So I told myself I'm not gonna judge myself too hard until I'm back for like 2 years for real. I've been back for a little over 2 years now. It was just about 2 years when you see my last fight, and that's why I was able to put on such a good performance. I still don't think I'm 100%, but I'm almost really back to the whole Joe. Back when I came back on my second pro fight, I was like maybe 50, 55%. I'm up in the 90s now. We're almost back to 100.
Okay. Now, for people who haven't seen you fight, describe your fighting style. What your fighting style?
Uh, I'd say not what most people expect when they see me. I'm slick. I think about defense and speed, but everyone talks about my power. Besides that, man, you gotta come see this. It's not. I got so many layers. I haven't had been tested yet in my career to show you guys everything that I want to. But I got a lot of layers. But I say a quick defensive fighter that's got a little bit of pop behind him.
Okay. Now, has it been any changes in your style coming up, like especially like after the injury and stuff?
Um, no, just becoming more my true self. I mean, I don't. I want to say it's been too much of a change over the years. Back when I was like a young kid, I was definitely come first, like come forward. Backing guys up. In amateur, you kind of got to do that. You only got 3 rounds, and the judges like to see the come forward. So I prefer to fight that way at times, but it's a lot safer. Being smart, taking your time. But I'm just becoming more of my true self, becoming better. I don't really think nothing's changed. I'm just adding to the bag.
Okay. Now, your last fight against Rashad Kilpatrick, you two had somewhat of a backstory. Did his trash talking and everything give you an extra boost of motivation going into that matchup?
Um, well, a lot of people knew because we're both local, knew both of us. So I think they kind of there's a little bit of talks of who's going to win, or who. I think I knew of some people, that were some leaning his way, some leaning my way locally that are in the fight game. So I just wanted to prove to everybody that thought that he was going to beat me. I just wanted to prove to them they were delusional, which I think I think I did that correctly. But yeah, we just sparred. We just sparred twice. Back. Just you're in the gym, you get work with whoever. It wasn't like we really had any serious history. I mean, he was confident, I was confident, but I proved he was correct on that.
Yeah, you sure did. Now, outside of the ring, you do personal training. What got you into that?
Okay, so uh, I've always been working to earn my own money. Just I don't know, 11, 12 years old, started cutting grass and helping family friends with home improvement businesses and stuff like that. But I know I'd say it was around 13 or 14 maybe. I started teaching like other kids, like kids classes at Baltimore Boxing Club. That was Jake Smith. That's who I did my whole amateur career with and used to train at up until COVID when it shut that gym down. But I started doing kid class at like 13, 14. I guess I was good at it. Jake liked to keep me around, slowly worked me in more and more. And then by like 16 or 17, I was basically running the gym every day, 40 plus hours. There was, towards the end before COVID and all, there'd be months when I was there 30 days in a row, hours on end. I was basically running the whole gym at times, between me and the other fighters, of course. But just being in the boxing gym, it picks up, it pays good. I've helped multiple people lose 100 plus pounds. I've helped guys in their 50s get self-confidence they said they never had. And I've helped people that just always wanted to spar. They've never been punched in the face in their life. They finally got in their sparred and they're happy with it. Uh, with personal training, I do it. Yeah, I do it for a means of, for money in the meantime until the fight pay picks up. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just part of my life. I'm a boxer, man. Like if I'm not fighting, I'm going to be training somebody. If I'm not training someone, I'm sure later I'll be managing and promoting. I want to be known as boxing. When you hear boxing, what do you think? Are you thinking like Tyson, Ali, Lewis, Sugar Ray? Bazooka Joe's going to be up there one day when you think of boxing. Eddie Hearn. You don't even got to be a fighter. In one way or another, I'm going to be known in boxing. This is all I do. This is all I know. This is my life. So.
Yeah,
Really, that's just it's just part of being a boxer, living a true life, man. I just love this sport.
yeah, definitely. The couple times that I've seen you, I see that quality in you. You got that star quality.
Right.
You got some shit.
Yeah, for those that's watching, please hit the like and subscribe button if you can. Hit the like
Share
and
it too.
subscribe
Share it too.
and share it as well, please. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I saw you fight a few times, man. And now it's making sense that what you're telling about the injuries. I see the progression each fight. You're definitely a skillful, technical fighter. I know you had a lot of amateur experience. I can notice that immediately from watching your previous fights, man. What was that transition like, transferring from the amateurs to the pros? What was the difference between the two, between you?
Taking your time, being patient, taking my time for sure.
Okay.
Because I'm a hard worker. I'm always been in great shape. So in an amateur fight, you only got what 9 minutes at the most. anyone can go hard for 9 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm working, I mean, I haven't been that many rounds in the actual, an actual fight yet. Hopefully, we get some this round, this fight. But now that I'm, sparring more and working with other professionals that are higher level than myself or more experienced than myself, doing, that 6, 7, 8, whatever, more than 3 or 4 rounds at a time, I'm really learning how to take my time, pace myself. And it's only helping me because I like to be a smart mental person and a smart mental fighter. And now it's giving me my time to really be the true type of fighter I'd like to be. So patience is definitely what the biggest difference for me has been.
Yeah, I noticed you have a nice following as well, man. How did that develop with the nice fan base that you do have? How did that develop?
I started when I was 8 years old. I was selling tickets like this when I was 8 years old. I mean, I was helping my father and just having a charisma. We always knew, man, you want to be in a boxing, you got to be a star. You want to make the money, right? You don't want to. Come on, man. That's what we're here for. We're here to get money. We're here to get paid. Everyone else got to get paid too. So it was always just been in the game plan since a young kid. Let's start building the following now. Why start later? And it's just ran. It's just ran with it. I think I've been selling my own tickets and getting my own sponsorships for tournaments and, selling on the local shows since I was a young teenager, 13, 14-year-old kid. I used to pack Michael's 8th Avenue plenty of times. And I was the one calling people, posting, meeting them for the money, everything. I've been hustling for this since I was a young kid. So it's just a lifetime of building, really.
Man, I remember Michael's Fifth Avenue down there,
Michael,
Eighth Avenue, Eighth
yeah.
Avenue. I fought there a few times, man.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and this in the '90s.
Yeah.
You remind me of a gentleman from Baltimore named Andy Glassmeyer. Have you ever heard of him?
Yes, I have heard of him.
Yeah, I beat him twice, but Andy was a tough fighter, man.
Okay.
You remind me of a similar style, similar slickness, and toughness, man. You bring all those attributes, man. If you do know anybody that's from the Baltimore, I know you're from Baltimore. That's from the old days. Ask them about Andy, man, and see what they tell you, man. He was a great fighter, man. I think he's down in Texas somewhere now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
But
I've definitely heard his name before, and I'll ask some of the older guys about him for sure. And yeah, Michael's was the place, man. It just closed down recently
oh, it
as a
did. I didn't
business,
know it
but
closed.
during during the whole COVID, whatever. But I think I fought there. I'd say at least 25 times. Like
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
most of my local fights was there. Like at the end of
Yeah,
my
that spot
career,
was the
at the end of
spot,
my
man.
career, all my amateur fights was there.
You
I
know what's
packed that joint.
what's crazy about that spot is it give you your first pro feeling, like when you the ring walk and
Yeah.
the ring card girls and everything, man. I remember
Yeah,
that, man.
yeah. They used to do the pro shows there, and actually, so where I said I was training for my second fight, when I got injured, when I was, back 2016, that fight was actually supposed to be at Michael's 8th Avenue.
Okay, okay.
That's,
Yes, indeed,
yeah.
man. You got it, man. You definitely got the skills, man. Give me a daily training routine, man, at your gym, man. I know you up there with Tony Jetta, man, who was also one of my colleagues from the amateur
Yeah.
days, man. First nationals together, his first nationals, he came with us, man.
Mhm.
How was that getting information and advice from such a great fighter as Tony Jetta?
Hey, you can learn something from anybody, and Tony's been in there, and Tony's been through the game, and now he's even more so in the game on the business end. Plus, when you're on the fighting end, you're involved in the business end, so he's seen the game from the promoter, manager, fighter side now. So he's always dropping some type of knowledge or talking about a conversation that he had with somebody there. He learned something. He's always sharing what he knows. And I've known Tony for a long time. I watched him fight back when I was an amateur and he was an adult and whatnot. But and a regular day, it varies from week to week for sure, depending on what we got. Like my man's Nick Kistner's got a fight Saturday out in Kentucky, so we've been gearing our training towards him a little bit more.
Okay.
But we work out pretty much twice a day. Most days of the week, maybe 1 or 2 days a week, we'll just do one. But Monday through Saturday, we're in the gym. Normally, sometime in the morning before noon, we hit the track or we hit the graveyard for a distance run. Or sometimes I take my pit bulls, my best friend Biff. Sometimes me and him just take a stroll around Brooklyn. But and then pretty much most days around 5 o'clock or so in the afternoon, after everyone gets done their daily stuff. We hit the gym. Me, him, AJ, me, Nick, Danny, Kistner, AJ Williams. We hit the gym. We put our work in, and then when it's time for sparring, we travel to wherever we need to go to get to work.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years, man? Where do Bazooka see himself as in 5 years as a fighter?
In a big ass house. But however that, I'm gonna be I'm in a big house with my parents taken care of. That's where I'm gonna be in 5 years. But now in the boxing game, I'm gonna be hopefully I got a belt. Hopefully I got a belt, or I'm getting called for a belt spot then. So on top of the game within 5 years, that's the plan. I mean, but no, for real, whatever. 5 years. Wow, I ain't thought 5 years from now, because I know things will be so much bigger and greater than they are right now, that I probably can't comprehend the level that things will be, because I can't really comprehend some of the things that are happening now within just the last 2 years. So I'm just worried about what, February 18th, and then whenever Tony gives me the next date, I'll worry about that. Besides that, I do what my coaches tell me. I take care of my family. I take care of me, my girl, my pit bull. Besides that, like I said, I'm just doing what I got to do to go down in boxing history.
Yes, indeed. Hey, which weight class you fight again?
I mean, this one we're going down to 40, which
Going down to 40.
That should be my I think that's my true weight class, 140.
That's your true weight class, 140.
We'll check out 140 once or twice, and then we'll contemplate 35. But I think 140 is my real weight class, to be honest with you.
Okay.
My last 3 year fights, I think we fought at like 40. I went like 44, and I was doing that quite easily. So I'm not stressing 40.
Okay. Any champions on your radar? If you think they hold a title, you see them, what you can be able to do to them in the future?
Oh yeah, I mean at 140, it's you got Josh Taylor had everything, and then he had hold that debacle with that weird fighting. But him and Catrell, they seem to be the two top dogs. But there's a lot of people moving to 40 right now, up from 35, and there's a lot of big names, so there's a lot of money to be made. So I'm happy to be at 40 where there's money to be made. You know what I'm saying? So
40 about to be up.
yeah, 40 is really about to blow up, and there's so many big stars already, and they're gonna look at someone that's not as known as a B-side guy. I'm gonna come take that A-side spot. That's my plan.
Give me a preparation meal preparation for fight night for Joe.
We're saying like the day of, or we're talking about like
day
after
of the
the
fight. Day of the fight.
I'll go breakfast wherever. It's Saturday, so everything's always crowded as could be. So wherever I can get into breakfast whenever I wake up, I don't know. Probably just have some like maybe eggs and pancakes. Honestly, that's what I always really eat after weigh. That's normally after weigh-ins in the morning. But probably some eggs and some pancakes and whatever else looks good at the time. But just maybe some juice and water. I just stay big up on the water, and then once weight's made, just whatever tastes good, that's healthy. I stay pretty healthy throughout the year. But
okay.
I don't know. I know that day of, some time within the day, because you're not you when you're hungry. So I always eat a Snickers bar. For real, I do. I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, I'll be like, I don't want to be in the locker room hungry, so I grab a Snickers bar real quick.
Hey man, I did that long time ago after the Silver Glove regionals, right? That was long time. I was a kid, man. And I, after starving for 2 months, I ate a 2-3 Snickers, right? We determined, the regional was over. We was getting ready to go to the Nationals. We already went. But, man, I ended up getting the bubble guts, man, because I was all that junk, man. So I hope, you probably used to it by now. You pro now, so I'm sure you used to it by now and adjust to that. But, yeah. I was afraid of that Snickers after the fight, man. That was for me, man. Yeah, man, you're a great fighter, man. I see the true potential in you, man. I think you're gonna do great things. And and nowadays we used to just invite a lot of people, and we don't just invite anybody on here no more, man. We go for the best of the best, man. And I see a bright future in you. That's why I invited you on here. So if it's a privilege to be on the platform, man, and it's a privilege to have you on the platform, because I see your bright future. I'm here and I predict things for most of the fighters that came on. You will be a world champion. You just keep doing what you're doing, man. And Jetta sees a lot in you as well. And when he sees a lot in most fighters, I do also. So, brother, you got a bright future ahead of you. Keep doing what you're doing. That last fight, you went to work. You didn't play no games. You separated yourself from him. Spawn and fighting is two different worlds, and you showed that, man. And it's an honor to have you on here, man. I see you doing great things, man. Any shout outs that you want to give out to anybody out there before we close it out?
Yeah,
First, oh, go ahead, my fault. Go ahead.
no, about to say, and tell people where they could get the tickets at.
Oh, I got you. First off, thank y'all. Well, first off, that everything you just said about me and throughout this whole interview, both of you fellas, I appreciate that very much. That lets me know I'm doing what I'm supposed to when I'm hearing good words, especially from people who know what they're talking about. And I do really like how you were saying everybody on this podcast has a name or is serious or is going someplace, because I've noticed that once you sent me this a week ago, I was checking out some of your old interviews, and everyone you had on there is, former champs or future champs, or they've been around the block. So it's a privilege to be on here with you. But I want to shout out my promoter, Tony Jetter. Shout out you guys as well for having me. Shout out my mother and father for raising me and, bringing me up the way they did. Shout out Coach Danny and Nick for doing what you do. Rudy, my lawyer, my attorney, you're the man. Thank you to all my sponsors. As of right now, we got my long-term Serenity Sisters of Annapolis, Recovery Homes, annual trainer. I love you. Gina White from Veterans Realty over in Gambrels. I love you guys. Thank you as well for getting back on the team. It's been a little while. I'm happy to have you guys back. AM Cuts over in Brooklyn. Jawan, thank you, brother, for always hooking me up with the cuts. And I need to get in there. Don't look at it right now. I'm overdue. And my longtime brother, Justin Evans, with the Darwin Group Printing Company. Thank you guys very much for supporting me. You know how much you helped me through training camp. Shout out Bazooka Nation. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, everything. Bazooka Joe Veazy, BAZOOKA JOEVZ. Brooklyn in the house. Bazooka Joe's out.
Ladies and gentlemen, future world champion, Bazooka Joe Veazy, the second win boxing media. Peace.
Peace.